Namaste. Welcome to the third day of our 4-day workshop. Today it's going to be themed around energizing, boosting our vitality. So in the last video we spoke about how we can relax and how we can sort of come into this state of rest. And today we're going to really go into how we can energize and feel boosted, more vitality through the breath. So before we begin, I would really like you to just sit where you are and just feel into how you feel at this moment. Do you feel tired? Do you feel fatigued? Is your heart racing? Is your mind racing? Do you feel energized? Just to sort of form a base, because it's always nice to check in at the beginning of our practice and at the end of the practice, so we can truly recognize or realize how the practice is impacting us. So we begin just by closing your eyes just for 10 seconds and just reviewing what you feel within. And slowly you can begin to open your eyes. So according to the yogic traditions, when we have stuck energy in our system, so when this prana the life force is stuck, that's when we feel a sense of lethargy, a sense of boredness, tiredness, lack of motivation. All of these things come from stuck energy. And so these techniques that I'm going to be teaching you today are all about removing blockages in the body. So we are also going to cover some kriyas. These kriyas are also sometimes referred to as kriyas and sometimes as pranayam practices. Kriyas basically mean cleansing practices, which are cleansing the respiratory system and thus bringing more energy, allowing us to bring more energy through the breath. Additionally, we are also going to explore how holding the breath in certain ways can impact and boost our vitality. So yogis have been using these techniques for many thousands of years, where they live in the Himalayas in very harsh conditions, where they are on starvation diets. They hardly feed themselves any food, any nutrition. They are undergoing a lot of stress from the cold. They are constantly exposed to a lot of cold and they don't really have the proper clothes to cover themselves. Most of them are completely naked in the ice. So they are like skeletons sitting in the ice, and yet they manage to have the energy not only to stave off the cold, but to carry all their belongings along with them up and down the mountains. So they are getting this, if they are not getting this energy from the food, they are getting it elsewhere. And this is where the breath comes into a core point of how these yogis use the breath to increase their vitality, their energy levels. So the first technique I'm sure many of you all might be familiar with is Kapalbhati. So Kapal means the face or the skull and Bhati means to shine. So this is a Kriya technique which we use to cleanse our respiratory system and also to boost and remove impurities from our body. Additionally, all the techniques that I am going to be exploring today with you are also boosting our metabolic rate and thus our digestive system. So all these are activating the sympathetic system, boosting the digestive process, and thus also giving us more energy because we are able to digest our food better over the long run as we keep continuing these practices. So in Kapalbhati, we are going to begin as we inhale normally, and as we exhale, we draw the belly in. So inhaling normally, exhale belly in. And we are going to do this increasing the pace of the exhale. As we do this, we are always exhaling out of the nostrils and making a sound at the back of our throat. So it's really good to do Kapalbhati before we do any other pranayam techniques, because it's just sort of cleansing us of the previous day. Maybe we might have been on the road, on our bike or something like that, where we are breathing a lot of pollution. This is a great technique to remove the impurities before we begin our full breathwork practice. So once again, coming to seated straight if possible, with your spine completely straight, taking a long inhale, and just watch first. I'm going to show you how we're going to do the Kapalbhati. So So we're just going to do around 30 or 40 strokes, and then after we are done, we're going to take a long inhale and hold the breath. So taking a long inhale, filling up your lungs completely. I'm going to count with you. So when I say 1, you're going to inhale. When I say 2, you're going to exhale. So inhaling deeply. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Taking a long inhale, holding the breath. And slowly releasing the breath, keeping the eyes closed, taking a few normal, long, deep breaths. And you can slowly open your eyes. Just a reminder that if you feel dizzy or you have existing problems with high blood pressure, to be careful about the way you hold the breath the way you retain the breath after inhaling. So we're going to do the same technique, but now we're going to employ an alternate nostril within the Kapalbhati. So here again we're going to bring our index and middle finger down to the base of our palm. And here I'm going to close, so I'm going to take a long deep inhale and closing the right nostril, breathing out only through the left. So here's how it would look. So let's do this all together, taking a long inhale, placing the thumb on the right nostril, exhaling from the left. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Inhaling just from the left nostril, filling up the lungs. You can release the hands, holding the breath. And releasing the breath once you're done. We'll continue straight on to the other side. So this time we're going to take a long deep inhale, closing the left nostril and breathing out through the right. Yeah. So inhaling deeply, closing the left, breathing out to the right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Inhaling into your right nostril, filling up the lungs, holding the breath. You can release the hands. Releasing the breath, coming back to your normal breath, breathing a few long deep breaths. The next technique that we're going to practice is called Surya Bedana. So this technique means that we are stoking the energy of the sun or stroking the energy of the sun. So here we are only going to breathe through the right nostril. So like I mentioned in the second video, that we are mainly the right nostril is linked to the sympathetic nervous system, and activating the right nostril is linked to the energy of the sun. So when we feel a little bit low energy, we can just close our left nostril and only breathing through the right nostril. So we'll try this all together, closing your left nostril with your ring and little finger, inhaling through the right for 1, 2, 3, 4. You can close your eyes through this practice. Hold the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting to 8 now. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can release the hand, just sitting in silence for a moment, observing any sensations that are arising. Notice how you feel different from when we began the practice to now. Just remaining aware of your state of mind, your state of being. And you can slowly begin to open your eyes. So before we do the last technique for today, I want to explain a bit more about the bandhas, which are the power centers in our body. The bandhas are referred to as internal locks. So they are internal muscular locks located around a joint complex. So bandhas are internal muscular locks located around a joint complex. So the bandhas have two functions. One is the bandhas control the flow of prana in a particular part of the body, and second is the bandha is sort of connected to all the connective tissue and is regulating the health of the connective tissue in a particular part of the body, the fascia. So the first bandha, the Mula bandha, is located at the base of the perineum. So the Mula bandha, Mula means root. This is the bandha that energetically controls the flow of prana in our legs, and it helps us to feel grounded, rooted, firm, stable, pragmatic. All of these are the qualities of the Mula bandha. So we activate the Mula bandha first of all by strengthening the pelvic floor muscles. So when you contract the pelvic floor muscles, the perineum, that's when you're activating the Mula bandha. So before we do it, we need to understand that there are three main muscles in the pelvic floor. So one is the anal sphincter muscle, which is the muscle when you contract the anus, when you contract the ass. So that muscle, like you're trying to pull something up through your ass, that is the first muscle. The second muscle is when you're trying to stop yourself from peeing. So you're holding your pee or piss. So that's the muscle, right, for men right at the testicles, and for women where the hole which is discharging the pee. The Mula bandha is found between these two muscles. So there are in all three muscles in this pelvic floor region. So initially, to activate the Mula bandha, we can't activate it without activating the other two muscles. So initially you're activating everything in the pelvic floor region. Over time, as you get used to this, you'll be able to isolate the Mula bandha. The second bandha or second lock power center is the Uddiyana bandha, which is located just above our belly button. So the Uddiyan means to fly. This is a bandha when activated helps us to feel lighter. It's also connected to our center of our body. It's the bandha where all the core muscles, our entire digestive system is active around it. So notice we can activate the Uddiyana bandha by drawing the belly in. Notice how when you are lifting something heavy from the ground, or you're punching something, or even sneezing, you always do so with the stomach drawn in, because the Uddiyana Bandha is giving you that power to exert force. So now also I want you to sit down straight with a straight spine and try to make this observation whether you can activate the Mula Bandha, so drawing the perineum in while activating the Uddiyana Bandha. So most of y'all would see that that is possible. So it is possible to draw the belly in while also engaging the pelvic floor muscles. But now I want you to try the opposite, where you relax the pelvic floor muscles while you draw the belly in, while you engage the Uddiyana Bandha. And if you are engaging the Uddiyana Bandha correctly, you will find that you cannot engage the Uddiyana Bandha without the pelvic floor muscles. So there seems to be some connection between our pelvic floor, our perineum region, and our stomach, our core. So our core and our pelvic floor are very intrinsically linked. So any good, for instance, strength program or workout program will always link the core. They'll sort of want you to make the core strong as well as the pelvic floor strong, because these are very intrinsically linked. The third bandha is the Jalandhara Bandha. The Jalandhara Bandha is located at the throat. So Jala means water and Jalandhara is to the flow of water. So this bandha is sort of allowing us to both release and stop the flow of water, or sometimes also referred to as Amrut, nectar. So there's a belief in the yogic traditions that when we are in our sadhana, our spiritual practice, whether it's meditation or breath work, there is this energy coming in from the crown of our head into our body. So this energy coming from the universe, from the cosmos. The Jalandhara Bandha now, when this energy comes into our crown of our head and goes straight down into our digestive system, this energy is lost. So the digestive system takes this nectar or this amrut and makes it useless. So when we lock the Jalandhara Bandha, we are then stopping the flow of this nectar from reaching our digestive tract, and thus keeping that energy in our head region. So we simply activate the Jalandhara Bandha by bringing our chin to chest. But it's not simply a downward chin to chest, but it's down and back. So like as though you would be trying to make a double chin with your neck. So now in the next technique that we're going to practice, we're going to use the bandhas as we hold the breath. So you will find when you hold the breath, when you retain the breath along with using all the three bandhas, so bringing chin to chest, drawing the belly in, engaging the pelvic floor muscles, you actually feel an increase in the amount of energy that's circulating through the body. These three bandhas are very intrinsically linked. If any of you are familiar with the practice of Nauli, when we exhale completely, hold the breath and create a vacuum, all these practices I have explained in depth in my full online breathwork course. So if you're interested in that, do check it out, where we go really deep into how we can use the bandhas with the breathwork practice. But now, for the sake of time, we won't go too deep into that and just move on to the next practice, which is Bhastrika. Bhastrika means bellows. So these are the bellows in a furnace. I'm sure you would have seen these big bellows that are used to fan the flames in a furnace. So the same way, Bhastrika is fanning the inner flames in our body to increase our vitality and our energy. So we are going to do a variation of Bhastrika, which is also sometimes referred to as Sudarshan Kriya. So here we are going to bring the hands up. So it's like your elbow is in line with the shoulder. Every inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, curving the spine and bringing the elbows together. Inhale, opening. Exhale, curving. Every time we inhale and exhale, it's done through the nostrils. So we're going to do about 15-20 breaths like this, and then we're going to completely exhale, bringing the chin to chest, stomach inside, Mula Bandha active as we hold the breath. Once we are done holding the breath in this way, we take a long inhale and once again bring our chin to chest, stomach inside, Mula Bandha active, and hold the breath. So let's do it all together. Inhale. Exhaling all the air out, bringing your chin to chest, stomach inside, Mula Bandha active, holding the breath. Bringing the head up, taking a long inhale, filling up your lungs. Once again, holding the breath, chin to chest, stomach inside, Mula Bandha active. And releasing the breath, keeping your eyes closed. Breathing normally, long deep breaths for a few breaths. And you can either keep the eyes closed or open it if you feel like. We're going to continue with a second round of Bhastrika. So once again, bringing the hands up, inhale, opening the chest, exhale, closing. Exhaling all the air out, chin to chest, stomach inside, pelvic floor active, holding the breath. Bringing the head up, taking a long inhale. Once again, holding the breath, bringing chin to chest, stomach inside, Mula Bandha active. And bringing the head up to release, keeping the eyes closed. We're going to just stay here for about a minute with the eyes closed, observing any sensations that you might be feeling in the body at this point. Trying to see whether you feel energized, whether you feel different from when you began the practice. Trying to take note of how your mental state is now, of the sensations, the feelings in your body, how your energy levels are. And you can slowly open your eyes. The power of the breath is something amazing. It's something that can really, in just a few minutes, alter the way you feel, alter your response to the world, and thus help you take charge of your own life, of your own vitality and energy levels. We're done in this video. I'll see you soon in the fourth video, where I'll be speaking about also how we can use different techniques to make a complete full practice, and what are the ways to progress in your breathwork practice, how to make your kumbhaks, your ratios in such a way that you get the most benefit out of it. See you soon.